The cypress trees stood like silent sentinels in the moonlit Florida swamp, their gnarled roots twisting through black water that mirrored the starless sky. Somewhere in the labyrinth of sawgrass and mangrove tunnels, a child's hushed laughter echoed, the first sign that the rumors were true. The United States cavalry had been searching for months, but they would never find the floating island village where the Black Seminoles trained their children to breathe underwater through hollow reeds, to track soldiers by the scent of their sweat-soaked wool uniforms, to kill with a single arrow dipped in the venom of water moccasins. This is not just another slave rebellion story. This is the 150-year odyssey of the only community of escaped slaves who forced the United States government to sign multiple treaties recognizing their freedom, before being systematically erased from history books. The Black Seminoles, known as Estalusti or Black people to their Seminole allies and Maroon terrorists to plantation owners, built hidden cities, perfected guerrilla warfare, and created the blueprint for every successful resistance movement that followed. Origins: the first free black settlement in North America, from 1687 to 1738. The story begins not with the Seminoles, but with Spanish Florida's stunning 1687 decree. Any British slave who reached St. Augustine would be granted freedom if they converted to Catholicism and swore loyalty to Spain. Fort Mose, the secret black citadel. Established in 1738 just north of St. Augustine, this walled settlement became the first legally sanctioned free black town in what would become the United States. Archaeologists recently discovered its residents engineered an ingenious tidal gate system that could flood approaching enemies while keeping their homes dry. Many escapees came from South Carolina's rice plantations, bringing, West African agricultural knowledge that really transformed Florida's swamps into fertile fields. Their unique Gullah Geechee language became the linguistic glue, kind of binding African and Seminole cultures together. By 1750, these freedmen had formed America's first black militia, the Compañía de Morenos Libres, or the Company of Free Blacks. Their descendants would go on to perfect the art of swamp combat, using things like water moccasin venom-tipped arrows, floating landmines made from hollowed logs, and, ghost canoes that could move silently through those narrow waterways. When the United States acquired Florida in 1819, plantation owners were, honestly, horrified to discover thriving communities of armed black men living freely alongside Seminoles. Thus began the longest and costliest Indian wars in American history. The U.S. Navy's first act was to bombard a black Seminole stronghold on the Apalachicola River. A lucky cannon shot hit the fort's gunpowder magazine, killing 270 in an explosion heard 100 miles away. Survivors fled deeper into Seminole territory, their hatred of Americans now etched in blood. Black Seminole tactician Abraham, a former slave-turned-war chief, helped plan the ambush that annihilated Major Francis Dade's troops. Modern forensic analysis of the battlefield reveals that warriors hid in sniper nests built high in cypress trees, used turkey calls to lure soldiers into pre-sighted kill zones, and targeted officers first by recognizing their gold braid. After years of costly fighting, the U.S. Army resorted to deception. They promised freedom to black Seminoles who surrendered. Instead, 500 were chained and sold to Arkansas plantations, while another 200 were shipped to Cuba as prisoners of war. Only 33 escaped the holding pens at Fort Pike, Louisiana. During the years between 1850 and 1875, something remarkable happened, This was the Mexican Exodus, a journey toward freedom in the desert. Led by the legendary John Horse, who was a black Seminole diplomat and warrior, hundreds of people fled to northern Mexico, where, importantly, slavery had been abolished. And there they became the most feared frontier fighters in all of North America. The Seminole Negro Indian Scouts were originally recruited by the Mexican government to fight Apache raiders. These warriors, honestly, could track a single rider across solid rock, survive for weeks on cactus water and rattlesnake meat, and, they knew every water source from Texas all the way down to Chihuahua. In 1870, facing relentless Comanche attacks, the U.S. military pretty much begged the Black Seminoles to return as scouts. The terms were, remarkable for the time, a $100 signing bonus, which was equal to 2 years' soldier pay, land grants along the Rio Grande, and full freedom for their families. 4 scouts would go on to earn medals of honor before being denied pensions simply because the Army classified them as Indian mercenaries rather than soldiers. Modern genealogical research has revealed some truly astonishing connections among the hidden descendants of these scouts. Near Bracketville at the Texas Scout Cemetery, descendants still maintain graves where the scouts were buried facing Mexico, with their rifles cemented right into the headstones. And DNA studies from 2023 show that Black Seminole descendants carry Yoruba and Igbo markers from West Africa, rare Seminole haplogroups like QM3, and even traces of Sephardic Jewish ancestry from Spanish Florida. In Nacimiento, Mexico, elderly residents still speak a unique blend of Gullah, Spanish, and Muskogee, a living echo of Fort Mose that continues to this day. The U.S. government systematically suppressed this story because, honestly, it proved that slaves could successfully revolt and win. It also revealed the military's dependence on black warriors, and it undermined the myth of indigenous African hostility. The Black Seminoles didn't just escape slavery, they built nations.